Hey y'all. So today's episode is going to be a little interesting. We're going to be doing
like this.
Jesus Christ. We're going to be doing a gear review, specifically on the 10,000 fish headhunter.
Sweet bait.
Yeah, it's quality. I like it. It's good. So starting from nose to tail, obviously, it's a bluegill bait. It's shaped like a bluegill. It's supposed to mimic bait fish. This color is the sweet and sour gill.
1 of 7.
1 of 7. It comes in 2 different sizes, 2 3/4 inch and a 3 1/2.
I think it's 3 1/4 and 4 1/3. Yeah, 3 1/4 and 4 1/3.
All right, 3 1/4 and 4 1/3.
The 3 1/4 inch weighs 1/2 ounce, and the 4 1/3 weighs 1 ounce.
Which is a pretty decent size soft body swim bait for like your pond fishermen or whatever. And it's designed, it's front weighted at the mouth, and it's designed to slow roll on the bottom, bounce it off the bottom. On the Carl's Bait and Tackle, they specifically state bed fishing as a technique that you can use this for. And I would agree with that. I've got a lot of bites, bouncing it off the bottom, slow rolling it, that sort of thing. As you can see, it has some decent amount of love. Speaking on that point, the paint isn't that resilient. I've only had this bait for half of this season. I got it in March.
Probably around there.
Around March.
You know, it's been on a few fishing trips.
Yeah, and you know, some species that I wasn't targeting have gone after it, like gar, which probably attributed to the lack of paint on that side. But the plastic itself holds up very well.
I'm a fan of the plastic. It's pretty durable. You pulled through pondweed, around timber. You know, it's had some loving from some fish.
Yes, it has.
But it's still in one piece. I'm surprised. I lost mine on like the second cast, so
yeah.
So I didn't get a lot of practice with it. But from what I've seen out of Trey fishing with it, it's solid, durability wise.
Yeah, durability wise, it's good for the money. So it's got a magnetic hook that is embedded within the top fin right here. If you peel back the fin, you can see the hook point popping out right there. And it pops out whenever a fish comes by, envelops it, goes for it, and you set the hook, it pops out and sticks them.
And that's a size #1 jig hook.
And it does that very well. But the thing is that these top fins aren't as stiff as you would probably want it to pull through thick stuff, really thick timber, grass, that sort of thing. So what will happen is stuff will come by and push them down, and then you'll nick the hook. So keep that in mind.
We should point out it is a completely pre-rigged swim bait.
Yeah, yes, it is. And you know,
just tie it on and throw it.
It's a simple bait. It's about as simple as a crankbait in terms of you tie it on and you throw it until you get a bite.
Indeed.
Like your square bill, your rattle traps, you know, same techniques like that you can rock with this and still have good success.
Its action seems pretty legit too.
Yeah, you can pop it like a jerkbait and it will turn on its side when you pop it, but it'll still keep paddling, so it'll look like a dying bait fish coming up to the surface and then diving back down, which is a good feature to have. This is the only color I've tried. You know, I'm not made of money, so I can't, you know, freak and buy all of them in every size. But I mean, all of the colors look juicy.
These do run in at $10 if you are not a Carl's Club member. If you run to the Academy, it's going to cost you $10 for this little dude here.
Yeah. It's not exactly cheap.
The bigger one, I think, costs more. Yeah, the bigger one is $12. But if you are a Carl's Club member, you can get this one for $7, and I believe the bigger one for $8.39.
You know, so you got to keep that in mind. Fishing budget hands, you know. Is this for that, you know, budget angler rocking the Walmart special $30 Ozark Trail combo? I would say no. You could get by with less, but if you want a decent quality swim bait,
and if you are just trying to get into swim bait fishing, especially on a pond, this is a great introductory bait.
Because the only thing comparable in price is a
baby bullgill or bull shad. Yeah, those run about $10 for a Carl's Club member or 15 for not. I would say the Dark Sleeper, the Mega Bass Dark Sleeper is also $6, I think. Very similar in size and weight. However, this is a bluegill presentation, whilst the Dark Sleeper is made to look like a goby.
Yeah.
Which, highly recommend both for smallie fishing.
Yes.
If you're fishing in your rivers or creeks, this is a great bait.
And you know, this is small enough. You know, it's primarily targeted towards bass anglers, but it's small enough to where a big crappie will come for it. We've had gar go for them. Yeah. Granted, you know, you're not really going to catch a gar just for the fact you can't stick them.
Yeah.
Because they're bony mouth, but many species
we'll have a video on that in the future, though.
Yeah, there's a way to circumvent that. But overall, I give it a solid 4 out of 5. The paint being a little sus. You know, you're paying $10 for a bait. You want it to hold up fairly well, and it is holding up structurally. But once the paint's gone, you basically have an all-white swim bait. Yep. Which can still work, but you paid for it to have the paint. Material-wise, it smells just like cherries.
Like a cherry scent.
Yeah, like a cherry scent on a soft body frog.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's a similar style plastic because of that.
It very well could be. I don't know if that's, I don't believe it to be plastisol. It could be. It could be a plastisol based bait, but it seems more rubber like to me.
Yeah.
Like a frog. However, like I said, I only got to make a couple casts with mine before I lost it, so I'm not going to go into the rating of the actual fishing with it, but the aesthetics, I like it. The build is nice. I think it's a good little bluegill presentation. The hook is fairly stout for what it is and super sharp.
It's very pointy.
I like that it has flat sides, which make it great for skipping under structure, cover rather, like timber or docks. It's really good for that.
And it sinks relatively quickly for its size. This size is 3/4 ounce.
That is ½ ounce.
½ ounce. Can't remember these guys. But it's a ½ ounce right here. And less than 3 inches. So it's a pretty dense bait. So
and
it gets down.
The size up. It's not much bigger. And it's a whole extra ½ ounce. It is a 1 ounce bait.
Yeah, so it gets down there deep, which is the entire point.
And it has a 2/0 jig hook. So it's a pretty stout little dude in a small package.
Yeah, and it'll do some work, hardcore.
You want to set the hook firm.
Yeah.
Like you want to give it that full yak pack swing.
Because, I mean, while I did state, it's relatively easy to push these fins down, inside of tight quarters like a bass mouth, you got to drive that sucker home and stick them good.
Which the fin is good for grass, stuff like that, but do not expect to be able to cast it around logs or fallen trees or pondweed and not get hung up.
It wasn't designed for that, and it shows, but light cover or just getting down deep, this will do it without having an exposed hook, getting hung up on the bottom cover, rocks, stuff like that.
Yeah. But all in all, I like the bait. It's good. It's a good introductory swim bait, and I think everybody can enjoy throwing it.
Especially since you don't have to go super hard in terms of your combo you run it with. Since it's either a ½ ounce or a full ounce, any medium to medium
take
heavy.
Your medium casting or medium heavy casting, or even a medium or mini or medium heavy spinning combo. Like, Trey, what do you have it tied on right now?
I currently have it tied on to a medium 6.6 Airdex with a Laguna 2500 reel. And that's what I always rock it on. It works for me. I like the sensitivity of it.
And we'll link these all in the bio.
Of course.
The bait and the gear.
It'll be down there in the description.
What size line you got it on?
I rock 12-pound fluoro, specifically Berkley Vanish, currently on it, and it runs just fine. It swims great. It's got tons of versatility in terms of the action you can use it with. Not the action, but your actual fishing capability. Pop it, hop it. You can do all sorts of things. You can get that sucker to fish really shallow too if you get it going quick.
Yeah, I think that 10 to 15 pound fluoro mono range is probably your sweet spot. You can also throw it on braid. Like I would throw it on lighter braid, maybe 30-pound braid.
Like if you're rocking it on a spinning combo.
The bigger one, you'd go up to 45 pound, and I think you'd be real nice. But, or 40 pound braid, I'm sorry. But yeah, 10 to 15 pound fluorocarbon or monofilament. I prefer fluorocarbon myself.
And hopefully you'll see in some of the B-roll of these hook sets, you'll notice it's not typically a corner of the mouth hook set. You usually get them right in the top of the mouth. I don't know if that's just a nature of where the hook is embedded into the actual bait, but in my experience I have found top of the mouth is its name of the game.
Yeah. One good thing I'd like to mention about the bait, if you want to hand it back to me before we wrap this up, is that even though it is a bluegill presentation, one thing about bluegills for bass is that they're so deep bodied that you know, it can be harder for a bass to eat a bluegill and really choke them. But this, even though it's that bluegill profile, it's not so deep as you're not going to get small bass. Any size bass will eat this. And if you like catching a lot of fish, this is great. If you want the bigger fish, get the bigger size, but you'll still be surprised by what will hit that.
Yeah.
It's a good all-around fish catcher.
Typically, you know, you want to plan out your gear to what type of pond you're going to, if it's a numbers pond or a size pond. And I would agree with Logan in saying that this is probably a numbers size of the headhunter, whereas the larger is a size lure for bigger fish. But you'll be surprised on how tiny of a fish will hit this one or the larger one. 100%.
Indeed.
You know, half pounders will come after it.
But you know, like I said, great for an introduction to swim baits. We'll have more videos going on in the future as to other swim baits, along with just lures in general. So stay tuned for that, and keep your lines wet.
Yes, sir. Yep. It's another small one. But always, folks, remember, like, comment, and smack the crap out of that bell. I want it to ring all hard.
Hit all and not personalized, because then you're not going to get nothing.
Exactly. This has been 7 Deadly Fins, signing off. Suck it.